does it feel like to, potentially make history, being from a unified champion at super lightweight to becoming potentially the undisputed welterweight champion of the world?
A lot of different things that we've done in my career have been history making, like the first female to headline in Chicago and the first female to fight on DAZN, so those are the things that we're looking for. So it's not really a surprise or a shock when those things come to fruition, and we just look to pile on more and more and more. So to become, undisputed at 147, that's the goal, and we're going to hit that mark, and then we're going to go on to the next. So it's very exciting, to say the least. And like I said, we just have more goals after that.
Now, speaking of those goals, you kind of mentioned that in reference to having a potential rematch with Katie Taylor, which could be, undisputed versus undisputed, or, against, Clarissa Shields, the next division up. So, how is it to say that, oh, I'm ready for greatness, so I want to face, those that are among the best in the pound for pound there in boxing?
It's just the mindset of being a winner and wanting to win, and really everything that we do up until the point of the fight, that's the sacrifice and the training and putting, all your time and focus into boxing, that's for that goal. So it's a mindset that I live day in and day out. And, if you're not going to fight the best, and if you're not going to aim for the top, then what are you doing it for?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are separated by a few years, but what's your thoughts on where she might be physically in all of her fights versus where you might be, or where you feel you are at 8-2? Do you think that could be a factor?
I definitely think that could be a factor when it comes to fighters and the number of fights that they've been through. I think that is what really tells their age. And she has a lot of amateur fights, and she has a lot of pro fights, and her body's worn down, and her body's getting older. And me, I have a young boxing body. I've only had about 25 amateur fights and 10 pro fights. And so I'm still ready to go. My body's still agile and powerful.
Did you notice, since you mentioned that, did you notice any slowdown maybe in the Bustos fight for Braykus?
I actually haven't watched that fight. I think I may have seen some clips. I don't watch a lot of tape. I don't watch a lot of female fights, actually. That was actually brought to my attention very recently. But I mean, I don't see any change in what she does from the clips I've seen from multiple fights. It just looks the same to me.
Any reaction to last week's super featherweight championship and kind of the decision in that, and how maybe you could approach this, just with the opportunity that this is? We saw Jonas after the fact, she was very crestfallen about maybe she could have done something differently here and there, but do you factor that into how you might approach this fight?
I definitely think that my fight has to be very black and white, clear cut. And that fight kind of shows the same thing. I do feel like each fighter could have done a little bit more. Harper had Jonas on the ropes. It showed great generalship, ring generalship. She should have thrown more punches with that, and she could have come out on top. Jonas was throwing great body shots, great right hooks, and she just probably needed to throw more volume, and she could have come out on top. It's about pushing your body to the next limit and just really trying to outdo your opponent. So that is a lesson that is just last week. So I have to do the same thing for this fight.
Last question, just that catapults women's boxing to to be a hot topic in boxing this week, and it's very exciting for the women's game. Any pressure to kind of carry on with that momentum?
I definitely want to keep the momentum going, and there's another fight next week with Delphine and Katie Taylor. So we have a lot of things back to back to back, and it's time to take the momentum and really push it forward. So I want to just make sure that I have an exciting fight and pass the torch, and then get ready for my next fight.
Thanks.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks.
Jake, you're on.
Can Can you hear me okay? Okay, cool. So Jessica, I just wanted to ask, I know a couple of years ago you had actually crashed a press conference that was in your hometown for the very first DAZN show. Eager to get on that show. At that time, did you even expect, never mind to be a regular participant on this series, but now you're the first female ever to headline on it?
I did crash it, but I did get like a side invitation. I just was told to show up, so I showed up. And that's where all the magic happened. Eddie came over and talked to Rick Ramos, my manager and trainer, and said, "What do you guys want to do?" And we said we wanted to fight. And it just escalated from that point of, okay, let's do a fight. And then phone calls later, it was, we want to fight for the WBC. So that was a big step, a really big step. And ever since, we've just been taking those large leaps and big steps to continue to make history and continue to get the belts. And that's what Saturday is all about.
Definitely. How much has it like inspired your own life? Because I know like you work full time and then you also do boxing full time. So just how much has it like changed your life on both levels?
I think it's really pushed me to just kind of take charge and just don't look back, you know, work hard, make your decisions, push forward, and just own it, own everything. And I really push that thought onto the females that I train with. You know, it's okay for them to make mistakes because I'm here to help and Rick is there to help. So I just tell them to own it and figure it out and take that leap and step in. And if you mess up, you mess up, but it's going to be okay. So I think that's a lot of what boxing has taught me, just go and own it.
All right, very cool. I'll let everyone else get in. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank you, Jake.
Okay, guys, any more questions for Jess?
Yes, I have two questions actually.
Hi.
Hi. So I know that you mentioned that, you know, you believe that this fight will lead to more mega fights. So who would you want to fight in the future?
Of course, there needs to be a McCaskill Taylor too. And then we've talked to Amanda Serrano's team. We're both really excited to make that happen. And then there's so many other females that are coming up, and it just kind of depends on the time and the place and what comes into action after that. But those are two of my main fights on my list.
Speaking of, you're headlining this match, so how does it feel?
Oh, it's great. We've headlined before, so it's not like a new feeling or anything. It is exciting because this is a really big fight, so it kind of feels like it should have been that way from the beginning, but now we're in that spot. So now we have to make it exciting.
Absolutely. So with COVID pandemic, how has it changed your training? Has it made it more difficult? Has it made it more easier? What switch-ups did you have to make?
It's been so much easier. I'm able to work remotely from my investment banking job. So I just work from the gym. I spend probably 99% of my time at the gym. So we train in the morning and then I clock in at 6 a.m. So I'm at the gym. I set up my little desk and my laptop and everything. The girls are in and out. We all are required to work out like 2 or 3 times a day, depending on the day. So they're in and out, and I can just function from the gym and get my training in. You know, I can go jump on the treadmill real quick and then come back to my laptop. So training has been really easy, just cutting off a lot of the commute that I normally do. So I don't have a problem with the bubble, especially because we're just trying to make sure everybody is safe and staying healthy. So I'm doing my part.